Howdy, and welcome back to Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. Today's subject is the Revell DC-8. This was initially issued in 1959 and had a number of other additional issues later on, and also some revisions to the molds that we'll discuss a little bit later. So we'll start out with the box cover. Got a beautiful rendition of the aircraft sitting on the ramp, people getting ready to board, luggage being delivered. Get your businessman, over on the side here, or maybe he's going out on a trip, looking out from the concourse to the aircraft, being excited about where he's going. So you've got the scales from official blueprints that was on a lot of the aircraft and ships and vehicles that they would produce, showing that they were, very, very meticulous in their detail and their accuracy. You got cowlings that snap off to show the detailed engines, wheels that turn, doors can be shown and open or closed, and they also included a ramp and airline decals. And it's an easy to assemble model kit. On the side, you've got the S logo on here, which is popular with a lot of collectors. They like to collect the S series kits. It is copyrighted to 58, but it's actually wasn't issued until 59. Got additional artwork of some of the other kits that were available. You got your end here. Continuation or re-showing of the cover and the Revell logo. And on the other side, you've got some other artwork of other kits that were available. Also of note, you've got tape on the sides. That's how the early boxes were closed. They didn't have the cellophane wrap that you're familiar with nowadays. Kits were just simply taped shut. So let's get inside this and see what we got. You got a fairly large instruction sheet. Instructions for decals. We'll get to those later. We'll look at the kit itself. So here you've got largest pieces are the fuselage pieces. You've got, you notice you've got molded windows with recesses, but no openings for clear plastic or to represent the actual glass. You've got some molded panel lines. You've got some engraved and a little bit of raised, but it's somewhat delicate compared to a lot of other kits around this era. So fairly nicely done. And you've got the cockpit area with the framing. So pretty nice kit. So that's one fuselage. Take a look at the other one. See the openings for the doors, both front and rear. Got the parts for the famous Revell globe stand. All the kits, typically came with a decal that you'd put right here to show, what the actual kit subject was. They'd put that on there, and it would pivot around. Fortunately, most kits don't come with stands anymore. So here we've got a few sprues with some of the smaller parts. Got, looks like the engine covers, straight pipe exhaust. There's one of the tails. Some more of the engine covers. It's part of the ones that could pop off, as was described on the box cover. There's another one with the wheels, landing gear. There's your doors. And here are the engines themselves. You can see the entire engine's molded as one piece on here, which is interesting. With a little bit of detail on there, so you could kind of, pick out some of the highlights with your paints, if you're real delicate. And then you see the little dots on there, the little holes are for where those cowling pieces would snap on. So you could uncover all four of your jet engines. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the engines and pylons. And here we got your wing pieces. Again, fairly delicate molding. Some recessed, a little bit of raised. There's your top and bottom. And here's for the boarding ramp, or the loading ramp. Left and right pieces, and here's probably the stairs here. Yep. Then this looks like the tail cone piece. Looks like the nose cone. And a few more of the exhaust jet pipes. Here's the part for the stand. So this is what would be fitted on the bottom of the kit. And this ball would go inside a little plastic, clear plastic parts that would create the stand. Next, we'll take a look at the instruction sheets. It's a fairly large instruction sheet. Gonna have a hard time fitting it all in. So they've got assembly instructions. Nice little drawing of the assembled kit. Some best results. A little bit of information about the aircraft. Kit number H248, 1958 again, but the kit actually didn't come out until 59. So you've got an exploded view of the kit, calling out each part by name and then assigning a number to it. There are numbers on the parts themselves. Then some additional information about if you're missing parts, you could submit this to Revell, and they'd send you whatever part was missing. I find it interesting that it does have the address here in Venice, California, which again is not very far from where I live here in California. And the address is on Glencoe Avenue, which Glencoe happens to be another model kit maker who reissues a lot of old kits. So I believe he may have taken it from a family name. But I find it interesting that Glencoe was where Revell was. So you got your step-by-step instructions here, calling out each different assembly point. A lot more detailed than you've seen in some of the other kits that we've taken a look at. But there's not much to an airliner. And then you can also send in for their full color catalog. Now, if you may have noticed or not noticed, but there are no clear parts for windows. The cockpit area has no glass. We saw that the fuselage sides, you just had renditions of the windows, but the cockpit, there's no glass for that either. And so, interesting choice for this early kit. And then here, they gave you a completely separate sheet for putting on the decals. In this case, a United Airlines aircraft. So that's all the placement. This kind of worked out fairly well for them when they would reissue this kit with different airliner markings. They didn't have to redo the full instruction sheet. They would just have a separate page for the specific decals that came with that kit. And here we have the decal sheet. Surprisingly, fairly intact, although it has yellowed quite a bit. Nice gold, almost like a gold foil for the speed stripes on the side. Get instructions on the back for how to put your decals on. And yeah, pretty good set of decals here. They do call out a specific serial number on this, N8000U. Looked it up, and this is not an actual aircraft that was flown by United. Their first DC-8 was N04 N80U. The only other thing that I could find on N8000U was a few other manufacturer display models, things that would go in the, let's say, travel agencies, lobby of some of their offices, maybe even in some of the larger airports. Those aircraft also had this N8000U registration number. So I think that was something that United may have come up with as part of their marketing to have everything look similar, and Revell went along with that as well too. But this was not an actual aircraft. I'll show you at the end some images of the first United DC-8, so you can see what that would look like. So that's about it for today. Not a whole lot with this kit. There's there's a lot of parts here, but it's actually a fairly simple kit, but pretty nicely done. So they Revell reissued this a few times themselves. The next issue of this was an SAS markings, and then in '68 they did change the molds. They went to the Super 61, which was a stretched DC-8. They added some 18 feet to the fuselage to increase the passenger load to start competing with the wide-body jets that were expected to be coming out soon, such as the 747, L-1011. So they got a little bit more life out of their DC-8 by doing that. And that kit was reissued a few times as well. This wasn't kicked around as much as some other molds. It was reissued by a number of Revell's subsidies or partners, Revell Germany, Revell Japan, Mexico, Lodella. But it wasn't sold around to a lot of other maker or other model companies. So this one kind of stayed with Revell. And then it stopped being issued sometime in the early 70s. So for people who are looking for a DC-8 kit, this is not a bad choice. Even though this is a 50s kit, it's still pretty nice. The only thing that I'd say is probably a challenge with it is not having windows, but that's something that could be managed by the advanced modeler if they really wanted to get a good model out of this. But being that it's molded in silver, you really didn't have to do a whole lot to this as a kit, and you could get yourself a pretty good looking rendition of the Douglas DC-8. So that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.